We're back.
Okay, we are back for another episode.
Hmm.
It was a fun week. Ready to talk about it
Yeah.
now. Where
I
should we
mean,
start?
good question. Do we want to start with assistant coach because that's sort of where we left off with, and then maybe shift to the infrastructure around what's going to ultimately create it, which is I think the lion's share of the week. Or do you want to talk about the business?
Let's do a quick recap of where assistant coach is at, and then we'll go into the business, and then we'll talk about, we'll leave the best for the end.
All right. So, and I guess I talked to you yesterday in person about the challenge that I think I need to still overcome with getting the markdown file updated. I've done a bit of since we set it up last week where I can connect the markdown file to any conversation, which I can, and that works great. And then if there's a conversation that where something is solved or resolved, exporting that into a prompt for Claude Code to get to the markdown file. I've also had success with that, but I think pushing it or connecting them, like I think that maybe there are multiple things sitting in GitHub that need to be connected. Because when I import the markdown file to start a new conversation, it won't remember all of the updates yet that we talked about. So that's one of my, I think, roadblocks or glitches. But the update on what I've done that was really cool is that when you do that process and import that file, it's like, all right, I'm up to speed on where we are now. Where do you want to start? And I say, all right, there's some open things. What do we need to talk about? And it helps organize the what should get prioritized or what still is an unanswered question. That's a pretty neat, pretty cool feature.
Here is one thing that I kind of want to change the way we go about this, because I feel like not only do I think that this is going to be useful for you, but also useful for anybody who watches it,
Yep.
where like you mentioned a few things where I know what they are because I think I'm the one who kind of taught you them. So I think it's important to kind of go over that so that if anybody wants to copy what we're doing, they can. And that being said, GitHub, right?
Yeah.
What is GitHub and why are we using it? Also, how do you said two things, it's like push pull um stuff that I think a regular watcher, which I'm hoping that's who our audience is, who we're targeting here, they're going to be in the same boat. It's like, what is it? What are they talking about? So I guess you saying that, I want to use this session to be like, okay, we're going to fix what's currently not working on your end so you can start working, and then at the same time hopefully teach somebody something
Yeah.
new. Okay. So then what that means is, one thing you said was what we started to do so that we can both work on this at the same time is we're using GitHub as our centralized file location, where any new updates or any new conversations you have with your AI, your LLM, which is either Claude or OpenAI or ChatGPT or Gemini. Once you're done with that conversation and you are ready to make those actually changes in the program, assistant coach, then you want them to go into the master file that we are all using. That way, when I pull it on my side, so when I say pull it, is that I'm going to that location that you just updated, and I'm like, hey, give me the most current information that Darren worked on, because I want to make sure that I'm working with the most accurate information based off the last input. So I'm pulling that information from GitHub, and then you're pushing it in. And then once I'm done working with it, then I push it back in saying, hey, I'm done with my stuff. Now we have code. Now we have more to the master file. Let me send it back in to GitHub so that Darren can then continue to work on it. It's very similar to like if you have Microsoft Teams or you use Google's Drive and Google's Documents, where two people can be working on the file at the same time, but without the at the same time part of it. It's all in the same place. It's all, you can work on the same file, but I need to pull it into my local computer to use it. I make any changes, I make any updates, and I put it back in so that then Darren can pull it. And then right now, my understanding, and I'm I currently have that file up is that any of the stuff that Darren has worked on has not. The last time that this was updated was 5 days ago. So we know for sure that we don't have a push into it.
Okay.
Any questions on that?
No, that makes sense to me.
Okay, perfect. So now what we need to do is fix it so that we can be like, all right, now every time Darren is done, I want AI to push it back in saying, hey, here you go. So walk me right now through what you do. Let's say you are going to let's add something that we're like, okay, this is going to be how we're
I
going to
mean,
make sure that,
kind of do my whole process right now.
yes.
So the first thing, and do you want me to screen share so you can see that, or do we not want to screen share my whole Claude and GitHub repositories
Um,
for
that's
any
a very
reason?
good question.
I can also just talk through it. It's pretty simple. So I have a project in Claude for Assistant Coach. So if I open that project and start a new chat window, the first thing I'm going to do is hit the plus button on the bottom left and do add from GitHub. Select my repository of Assistant Coach. And right now, the only thing in there is the MD file. So if I click add files and say, hey, what do I need to work on today? It's thinking, still reading the file. So
So you currently have it open in Claude, correct? You went into
I have
Claude, you went into
got into
your,
my project. Yep.
and then the little plus sign,
Add it straight from GitHub because those are
add it
connected.
from,
And you can't do that from an iPhone yet,
yeah, correct. You can't do it from that iPhone now.
but you can download the GitHub app and then just get into it and copy and paste it, which is what I've done if I've been working from my phone. Okay, so now it's read all the file. And I said, well, it says based on your recent sessions, here's some things you need to work on. The first thing he says is, you have a reminder. You asked me to remind you to add the trade specs Claude to the markdown file, the full schema from our April 3rd session. And after that, visual identity. I'm getting a different result than maybe the last time I had this, which would say that one of the open-ended items was the onboarding process. I did that onboarding process in a pretty long session and did connect it through Claude Code. And it's no longer telling me that's still open. So I wonder if something
And
happened.
well, and this is my question because I think you're getting two answers here. First of all, in your chat, you did already resolve it, meaning you don't have to do it. But
Yeah,
then when you open the GitHub repository with the markdown file, that's not done. That hasn't. Let's double check that. So I should be looking for something that says what? What am I looking for in the markdown file?
good question. I don't know it well enough to just direct you to it. But the thing that we flushed out was the onboarding process, the onboarding spec. And so there's probably whoops.
So right now, I only have 6. The word onboarding only comes up on the GitHub repository 6 times. And it's the 3 coaches, the user picks a coach at onboarding.
Did you just do like Control F to find how many times that word shows up?
Yes.
Okay.
And then what is it during onboarding or war room setup?
All right.
Then the user profiles, it has
Yeah.
whether onboarding is complete.
Interesting.
And then there's a note that free-form notes from onboarding questionnaire. So there's no questionnaire. There's no.
Yeah. So like number 6 is the onboarding flow, full wireframe needed before Manny builds, right? It's saying this is an open item. So I've done that. I did a long session talking through each part of that. And then a spec was created and I connected and I said to Claude, give me the prompt give me a prompt so I can paste this into Claude Code and connect Claude Code to GitHub and make these updates.
Okay, so perfect. So now what I want you to do is in Claude, be like,
Yeah.
okay, these have already been all answered. Can you create a new MD file, adding the new,
Okay.
it's going to give you a new file. It's going to give, it should be a full, right now we have 1,358 lines. So it's going to add to
Yeah.
that. It should be adding to that. Once it gives you that, I'm going to show you what to do.
Okay. Let me go back to close that on accident. And instead of doing that prompt that I just did this morning, which didn't flag that didn't flag the onboarding as an open item. I'm going to go to the conversation thread where we did the onboarding. Yeah. So this is the full onboarding spec from March 28th. What do you want to do with it? And I'm going to say, I want to ex- export. Is export the right word? Or
Uh,
is
I would
create
say
a new
update
markdown, update the markdown file, the complete
up
markdown file
with this new
with
section or with this.
this new section added. What section are you adding? Onboarding spec. Interesting that Claude asked that question. I need a bit more to go on. Are you saying the onboarding spec is missing from Claude MD and needs to be added? Or you want a new section of the existing onboarding spec is missing and needs to be added? So now I do need to put the markdown file again. Use 75% of my weekly limit.
Where am I at? I'm only at 9%,
You've only used
6%.
9% for your week.
I'm at 6%.
Did your week
But
just start differently?
no, I'm paying for the max plan.
Oh, you are.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, I'm using it so much. I'm like, no, we get an allowance that we get to, no questions asked, whatever you want to use it for. So this is my allowance. This is where my
Got it.
money's going to.
For you. All right, now it's Reddit. So we pull the full onboarding spec. Okay, I have the full spec from both sessions. Here's the prompt. Now read the current Claude. So now this prompt is for me to paste into Claude code.
So yeah, so do this. So now let me share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen? So you were currently in your chat, right? This is where you were working
Yeah,
on. You got the MD file. So what you're going to do is go to code, and then you're going to select on the bottom the repository that you should be
right.
connected to GitHub. So you should see
Yep.
assistant coach, and then you're just going to drag it. If it's saved on your file, you can just add it. If it's saved on your computer, you can just add it. Or you could just drag it in.
It is saved. So find to do in the code base. And I'm going to paste that whole prompt that I just got, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's done. And this is, I feel like what I have done, but let's see what the next part of it is.
On top, before you submit it.
I already submitted it.
Okay, perfect.
What
Sorry.
were you going to say?
Just something so that I can easily go into GitHub and be like, oh yeah, it's there. It's gonna show you no matter what.
The file content exceeds maximum allowed tokens. It seems to still be working.
Okay.
Use offset and limit parameters to read specific portions of the file. Search for specific content instead of reading the whole file.
So you copied and paste over?
I didn't paste over anything. I copied that prompt that I got from my chat about in the project and pasted and said, and it said paste this whole thing into Claude code.
Okay. You might have to ask it to give it to you in a markdown file that you can download, and then it'll be a file downloaded, and then you'll
Okay.
upload that file. If this doesn't work in the first go, I think we'll just switch.
Okay.
Because this is gonna fix. It's going to not matter anymore.
Yeah, I know. But it is a good learning. Just
Yeah. Let me stop sharing. So one of the things about GitHub is, first of all, it's a well-known and used source code library. It's private and it's also public. So there's a lot of public information in there, but at the same time, like big companies use it just to have their information in there. I think it's owned by Microsoft. So all that goes into GitHub is your code, nothing else but that. It's not your data. It's not specific information. It's just the code on how everything works and the code that works. So I guess now my next step is using this most updated repository is to now build the project, which is the assistant coach, which we decided, I don't know if we decided on the last call, is to go into, no, I think we did not. So what we decided is that we're going to go with the mobile version. That going with the mobile is going to make more sense. If you're watching this video, go look in the Apple Store, see if it's there yet. If not, I'll add a link so that you can easily go and download it. But that's the first goal. First goal is to get it working on a iPhone, so iOS. And then at the same time, we're going to be using a program called React so that it can also work on Android or work on anything else. That's where we're currently at with the assistant coach. Any other things with that?
Yeah, I can't remember. It's also, there were some things that we may have talked about on the last call that we've narrowed the market down to one fantasy platform, Sleeper, and the reason for that is the AI open APIs, and so it's pretty accessible to connect something through, see all of the data that it needs to see, and pull that where we need. The other platforms are more complicated to do that, or have no APIs at all. So creating a workaround for that, we had an idea that might have been clumsy, which would have been a sort of screen reading function. Instead, we're just trying to narrow the scope and simplify the connectivity piece of it. So for phase one, that's what we're doing. Sleeper, open APIs, no screen reading, not trying to go into ESPN or interestingly in the market. I think I told you this yesterday, Manny. The ESPN bought NFL. So that's that whole fantasy platform is being sunset or just wrapped up into the ESPN world, which is good for one, there'll be some attrition. Some people won't want to be in that world. And so they'll migrate to something else. And also, what the platforms would create from an AI fantasy tool upgrade are definitely not going to do what we're doing. And because this tool is going to basically say, hey, you should do this because this is going to make you beat Mike's team, right? The platform needs to please everybody. They don't want to have one person. They don't want Mike to get pissed that this person's paying for an upgrade to know more about him, right? Something like that. I don't feel it just feels a little bit of a key area of competitive distinction will remain there for tools that are created within the platform. All right, it's done now. And it says version bumped to 1.4, section 11, onboarding flow added in full 7 stages, abandoned onboarding handling and section level open items. So it's telling me it did that. Push to Claude /update Claude MD. So if we go into GitHub, is it already changed?
That's what I'm looking at right now.
Updated. Claude had a recent push 3 minutes ago. Did you see that?
Section 11. What does it say? What is section 11?
Onboarding. Be onboarding.
No, mine still says data schema.
So does mine. So I think that's showing the process of where it looks like it did it, but it hasn't done it. And to your point earlier, you're right. It's not going to be a problem moving forward for us. And so that's the update on Assistant Coach.
Yeah. The goal is, well, we did originally say that we wanted to be ready by the kickoff or by fantasy football start. I think what we want to do is push this faster so we can really test it and break it and then test it again so that it's, what do you call it? It's user ready by the time people start looking for their fantasy platforms. So we're going to speed up the process that we're going with this. And right now, I think it's just up to me to make sure that we get the design up in a iOS platform so that we can start playing around with it, see what makes sense, what the workflows make sense, what the onboarding makes sense. But that's where we're at with Assistant Coach.
I'm going to do a coffee refill. I'm listening.
Okay, sweet. So while we do that, would you consider that to be part of the business, or is the business something else?
Good question. Yeah, I would consider it to be a part of the business in that you mean a part of the business discussion. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
No, I think the question we talked about yesterday is should we move forward with creating an LLC?
I think so.
Which I think so too.
Yeah. So I think right now what we've been doing is as a hobby, playing around with these LLMs, and we've been expensing our own hobby. What do you call it?
Your allowance.
Yeah, our allowance.
Those are business expenses.
Yes, which this 100% should be. And then on top of that, I think we're ready to start spending money on marketing, to start pushing marketing campaigns out that are going to cost money, which are also part of the expense. So I think that's the next big step. It's also not expensive to start an LLM. It will protect us long term.
LLC. Starting an LLM probably is very expensive.
The LLC. So I think we're at that point.
Yeah, and I agree with you. So, and we won't have this call next week because I'll be out of town. So I have You and I will see each other a few times in the next 3 days. So maybe instead of using up a bunch of time on this call to talk about what we should call it, and unless you want to, but we should figure that part out and then fill out some paperwork and pay a couple $100 and have a business.
Yes. I think the biggest thing is to make sure that we're setting it up so that we don't get in trouble later on.
Right.
Because we are going to be, the goal is, and I think you mentioned this, is if we get 1% of sleepers.
Yeah. And I was thinking about this yesterday. Here's the other thing. I think the way that I said this to you yesterday was incorrect, and it's better than what I said to you yesterday. And I'm going to just give you the numbers. Of the 60 million fantasy football or fantasy users, according to my chats in GPT and Claude, that they estimate 29% of them are paying uh, for additional services like this, are paying premium fees for premium tools. So 29% of 60 million people. Right. And then we were talking about yesterday, right? Right now, Sleeper's somewhere around the 4 million users mark, and it's growing at 40% every year. I also think that 40% growth isn't going to slow down with this ESPN NFL merger. So that 4 million is going to go up. So 29% of that 4 million is like 1.7 million. For our goal, it's 25,000 users, which would be $1 million a year in just subscription fees. 25,000 is only 1.5% of paying users, of people who pay for premium tools. That it's only 1.5% of the market of people who are actually going to pay. That's not including all the people who aren't going to pay for things. It feels so achievable to me. It feels like an astronomical number, but it feels so achievable.
I 100% agree. And the reason why I was like, okay, we should probably now make sure we protect ourselves because
Yeah.
now we have a quarter of a million people. Is that correct?
No, a quarter of 100,000 people.
So that would mean that potentially there could be one that decides to come after
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just to
Agreed.
be on the safe side, I'll start looking into that. And then one of the things, and we mentioned this a few times, is like we like listening to My First Million. So I think looking at and stuff like that, where we can spin up different credit cards or different stuff for different things. And we can control how much an LLM can use so that once again, kind of protecting ourselves, somebody can't just exploit the LLM use
Yep.
and then run away with or expends thousands and thousands of dollars on LLMs. So that's where my mind goes to. It's like, okay, how do we add protections to the program? Because we are getting connected. We've seen people get scammed out of tokens. So we want to make sure that we're protecting that. So that's where the next phase of, I guess the next phase is getting a contract together.
Yep.
So that we can both review and sign and then getting everything started from there. Because I think we're at a point now. It's like, okay, let's start really going into this. And
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking about it with Claude last night, and also like Claude's like, you should, meet with an attorney and have them draft up a thing. And I was like, well, couldn't we just draft up a thing here? And like, if it needed an attorney to review it, we'll do that after we make some money. And like, instead of spending $300 on an attorney to write a contract, I don't know that we need that yet. If it gets crazy, then maybe one day. But right now,
So that's the next step. Shall we get to the main?
yeah, because yeah, let's get to the main event. What you been working on this week?
Have I told you what my dog's name is?
I
Do you
know.
know my dog's? You know? Yes. So I think the listeners might. I think I might have mentioned it in the first episode. I think he was in the background. But my dog's name is Pinecone. So Pinecone is considered, he's our house dog. He's our guard dog. He sleeps a lot and he doesn't pay his bills. Like he lives rent free at home. So I decided that, you know what, it's time to put him to work. So over the last week and a half, I have spinned up a new assistant named Pinecone. Pinecone is what I like to call a house manager. What does that mean? So pretty much if you look at house managers, they're responsible of ensuring that your house is being run smoothly. from making sure that you need to be where you need to be for meetings to making sure you're ready to pay bills to all across the board. Pinecone is working. Now, with the help of all of this new technology of LLMs, I have gone and created a AI assistant house manager. Think about it like Jarvis from the Iron Man movies. Now, there are already programs out there that do this, that kind of do this, like Manus. Have you heard of Manus? So Manus does something very similar to what Pinecone does, but the difference between that and how I have it set up is this is very dedicated to how I use it, from the health that I do to the bank information that I'm looking at. It's very dedicated to me. It's Cloudbot also came out a few weeks ago, actually, and it kind of does what Cloudbot does, but once again, in a more dedicated to me format. So here, let me show you one thing real quick that I want to. Okay, let me share my screen.
I'm so excited.
it's this is the thing. Over the last few days, like every day, I've had that excited, giddy,
Hmm.
like it makes this is very, I'm gonna go very dark here. Uh it makes sense why these big companies are letting go of people. Like for the first time, I'm like, oh my God, like this is why AI is taking over a lot of jobs, not all of the jobs, but a lot of jobs. And I'm like, okay, this is insane. This is actually working and it's actually doing something that technically I could pay somebody a good salary to have my personal information and do stuff for me that is now a lot cheaper than having to pay a human.
Yeah.
So that's the very dark part of it. Let me go back into the fun part.
Yeah.
Um, so this is Pinecone. I took a screenshot of it because I don't want to show my my URL, because I know that while yes, I do have a security, I'm running VPNs, there's always somebody that would see that as a challenge and try and probably break into it, and I don't want you to break into it. So this is Pinecone's infrastructure. Now, what you're currently seeing is just a screenshot, but I can go into the actual dashboard and see how everybody's currently doing. Pinecone, being the house manager, runs all of my agents, and they are working. And each agent does something very specific to my daily life. From if I get a crazy idea of like, hey, I want to create a tic-tac-toe game, I talk to Pinecone. Pinecone sends it to Linus, who is my programmer. Once it's done, he sends it to Ghost, who is my security guy, who will check it and be like, hey, yeah, you actually showed your API key on this line of code, delete it. Or make the code so that it's not showing it. It's on a different file that's not public, or it's not saved. It's not hard coded. And so then Linus goes back in and then resends it to Ghost, and it goes back and forth until Ghost, all of the requirements that Ghost has are met. And it's like, okay, good. Now you can send it to Manny. It's ready for Manny, to start playing and see if this is what he wanted. Um, Warren is Warren Buffett, which is a big investor guy. So he's my money guy. He's the one that's like looking at my budgets and making sure it's like, hey, I'm taking my wife out to dinner. Are we going to Canlis, or are we going to McDonald's? Yeah. So so that's Warren. And then the reason why I started with those is that everybody else on top is a little bit more of a specific task that has to happen, where Ringo is like, okay, once Warren has decided or has told me, it's like, hey, you can go to Canlis. It's, should we make reservations? Should we call, see when you can come in? Ringo then goes out and does that and puts it into mine and my wife's calendar. Then Paul is really currently not doing anything. He's the chief of staff, but he's not really doing anything. Then Cbum is Chris Bumstead. If you're in the fitness world, you know who he is. He's a 6-time Mr. Olymp. I think it's 6 times, might be 7 times Mr. Olympia, which is a big body competition show. So I made him my trainer, and he's connected to my Whoop. Me and my wife wear health devices called Whoops. So it's connected, so it's pulling information in there for CBUM to review and tell me, hey, that you recovered poorly yesterday, take today as a rest day, or you're great, you're good to go. You had 8 hours of sleep. Make sure you push at the gym today. Don't hold back. Now, Bruce, which is for for Bruce Wayne from Batman, he's more of the financial, making sure like any business that we have where we decide to get information will come to Bruce, and Bruce would be like, all right, all your companies are doing good. Actually, no, this company is not. There's an outstanding bill. Go back in and review and see what's going on there to make sure it gets paid. And then you have John and George. George is my intelligence guy, which what that means is he's just a researcher. So if I want to learn about something, or let's say one thing that I just did is I have a set of books that I always go back to. I reread every year. So I want George to go in to the internet and pull all the information about these books and then put them into my way of thinking, or way how Pinecone acts, where um, one of an example that kind of puts everything together, and I'll explain the workflow here in a second, is I talk to Pinecone. I'm like, hey, Pinecone, just got done reading Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. I really like this book. I want to put this mentality into my fitness. Pinecone sees it, and then he decides, is like, hey, which one of all these agents best fits this this idea of Can't Hurt Me? Well, first of all, he doesn't know what it is. So he sends it to George. George then goes out into the internet and pulls all of the information, or all information that he can, about Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. He gets all the highlights, and he's like, okay, this book's about uh, grit. It's about pushing yourself. It's about running ultra marathons. So it's very fitness oriented. There's a little bit of business in there, but it's mostly business, mostly fitness book. Let me give this information to CBUM and to Warren, so that if Manny's asking questions, I'm kind of thinking with that mentality of Can't Hurt Me. So he sends all the highlights. Now CBUM knows, is like, okay, Manny just got done reading Can't Hurt Me. Maybe we'll give him another 10 minutes on the treadmill, so that he can build his endurance to be able to run ultra marathons. Not that I'm going to do that, but that's the idea. And then at the same time, it's like, okay, it's about grit. It's about pushing. It's making the 1%, just being 1% better. So then it sends it to Warren. So then Warren's going to look at it. It's also considered a business book. So it's like, okay, what decisions do I need to make to get Manny a little bit 1% better when it comes to his finances? So that's the idea how every agent is working. And they kind of cut off right here. But I have all these tasks. Some of these have already been completed. They just haven't been updated, which are connected to my Gmail, and only bringing in tasks that are important. So I need to go in and fix the code so that it's only bringing stuff that it needs my attention, like check bank accounts. That probably should be something that I manually do. So I want to make sure that that gets changed. And then underneath that, we have the API costs. Now, the way that I decided to build this was each agent has different LLMs behind them, so that they all don't rely on one of them. And I'm glad that I did it this way. I don't know if you saw the news, Darren,
Yeah.
but Claude just revoked the usage of third party. So if you have Claude bot, or you use any other that you connected with Claude, they completely removed it. So you can't use your regular subscription. You need to connect it straight to your APIs, which your APIs are at cost, while using your subscription, they're very heavily subsidized. So you get more for your buck when you're using the subscription and connecting it to your LLM. This was all built with Claude Code, using Claude as the LLM. And then at the same time, I connected I'm not going to say it, but I connected some of my agents to Chat GPT or OpenAI. And then some of them, I'm already thinking of a new agent that I want to build, uh, that I want to connect to Gemini. I'm just going to say it because I think it's going to be cool. You've seen I think they're called the Oakley glasses, or they're
Go ahead.
so they have cameras on them.
Yep.
They have audio on them. They don't have a screen yet, which I have a feeling that Apple's this year is going to come out with their own glasses. And if that is, I'm a big Apple guy. So if they do, I wonder if I can get my Christmas pushed forward. uh, but so I'm going to create a new agent just dedicated to vision, and getting it to interact a little bit more. So I wear my Oakley glasses, or I think they're the Oakley glasses with Facebook that partner with them, and I connect it so that it can see, uh, and it can give me information in my eye, and all working with Pinecone. So that's it. A little quick run through, not really long, not really short. But any questions?
So exciting, man. My brain is just wrapping around that, like the idea of the glasses with the microphone. Like you could theoretically, you and I could be having a talk about ideas in person with the microphone running and the glasses on, and an agent could extract action items, ideas, to-dos. Like we could be talking about a whole function of assistant coach in person, just standing there talking to each other. And then an agent could pull what we asked to pull, create a spec sheet for a brand new function. Another agent could receive that spec sheet and code that function. Like we could come back an hour later and have the code already built and already stress tested. And that's just wild to think about all the different things that we can get to and we're not far away from. And yeah, the whole, you know, how this relates to assistant coach or any of the other things that we've talked about creating, it's creating a business of employees that do very specific tasks under very specific instructions and deliver very specific results. And at a to your point earlier, a sliver of the cost of what it would cost people. I mean, we were talking about that article yesterday about the first self-made billionaire from using AI to build the company, which is MedV, I think is the name of the company that distribution of GLP shots.
Yeah.
Like that was
Did you see the news this morning?
no
He might be going to prison.
no way.
Yeah.
Why?
So yes, most of it was built using AI, but what
Uh,
he did is that he created 800 fake doctors to issue
well,
the
that's not good.
GLPs. Yeah.
Oh,
So the
that's
idea is there, but he did something that he should have not.
right.
Yeah.
You should have got real doctors, which would have taken a little
Yeah.
more work. Yeah,
Right.
very wild. So you started building that 2 weeks ago, right? Pinecone, the first agent.
Yes.
How long did it actually take you? I mean, every night for several hours for where you're at now, right? You're working on it every day.
Yeah, every day it's being updated. Every day there's new features or new ways of thinking that I want to make sure that Pinecone is aware of. And one thing I want to say is like, this is not new, right? There's a lot of people doing some stuff like this, and there's already productized stuff like Manus, Cloudbot that are pretty much the same thing. The difference between that is this: first of all, this is very dedicated to me. I know how it works and I can adjust it, while everything else is closed, right? You're just paying a subscription and
Right.
they plug into your stuff, and then that's it. And if you want to change it,
And
then
they
you have to
have
submit it.
rules and parameters that they work within, and yours are your rules and parameters. It's built to you.
Yeah, correct. Like in this case, like the glasses stuff, it's like I could run to the store and buy a pair, and then by the end of today, I can have it connected to Pinecone running a very basic vision program so it's like every time I see my dog or every time that I'm gonna start recording, it's already going straight to Pinecone. Pinecone is aware. I haven't even talked about the brain yet. It's already saving it so that I know I can make sure that everything is being captured and I can act on it. Cause I think that's the most important thing. It's like idea is really good, but actually executing and actually doing it is a completely different thing. And I feel like
Right.
that's where everybody gets stuck. Now with Pinecone and how Pinecone works, that there's a little bit less friction in the execution part. It's like,
Yeah.
do we need to create a new program? Then we'll create a new program without having to wait to pass it off to somebody to then have them create a program that might take 6 weeks or might take a year. It's all now Pinecone is orchestrating all of my agents to make sure that can it be done? If it's not, can I get a new agent on board? And he'll onboard new agents. Maybe this will be a test. It's like, okay, this is going to be, give him the idea. Don't do it. Don't tell him anything and see if he spins up a new agent or if he just gives it to another one that's already there. So it's fun.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yesterday we were talking about. I ordered my new computer yesterday.
Nice.
Won't get here till the 13th or 15th or something like that. So it'll be a couple more weeks. But you were saying when we build this for me, don't do anything. Have you do it. You would have done some things differently, right? You're like, oh, if I'd have known that at the beginning, what were some of those things where you're like, you would do it differently now from what you started only 2 weeks ago?
So first thing, and I think you're leading towards the brain, um, is the so if anybody's been watching the news, you've noticed that Apple has their prices have gone up a little bit because people are going and buying a bunch of MacBooks to get all of their LLMs and all of their AI stuff working. The way that it has been working, and at least from my point of view, is I start a file. I normally never put it into Google Docs unless I need to share it. And everything else just lives in my local environment, which it used to be that it just, in order for me to act, in order for me to use it or manipulate it, I would have to be sitting at my desk here in my office to then be able to open it and do whatever it is. Now with Claude Cowork and Claude Code, it can be accessed anywhere. So what I did is what I wish I would have done it before I got my Mac is like, okay, from the start, everything I do, you're going to be learning. And I'm talking to Pinecone here. And in this case, I'm letting my AI agent know it's like, hey, this is my current workflow. I want you to constantly be learning by that means that I've had this computer. I had this computer before the whole craze of AI. That means that I would have had a year of files, a year of conversations, a year of things that Pinecone would have already known that I'm starting from scratch. I had started with scratch. Now I learned a few things and new tricks that I can pull some information in, but for the most part, it's a very baby brain.
Mhm.
Let me share my screen because I think this part is really cool. So yesterday I showed you a video, and that's the video that I'm gonna pull up here.
The daylight coming from my curtains is very bright. It's a little better, at least.
So you should be seeing right now is a video of my brain. Now, the way that you should think about this, and this might be the end of it already.
That's the beginning.
Let's be. At this point, I had already added some information into it. These are all file structures. The way that the human brain works is that it makes a connection by using chemicals of like, hey, this is what happened. Remember this. And then it tries to connect it to something else. So it might be like, hey, this is family, connect this vacation to family. So in 10 years, when you're like, oh, remember that we went to this vacation, it's memory that's housed somewhere inside of your brain. I'm not a brain expert, but this is the idea behind it, where every node, which is every little dot here, is a file that has multiple files inside of it. that means something to something specific. So what I did is I took all of my history with Claude, which I've now been using it for probably like 5 months nonstop, and I uploaded it to Pinecone and be like, hey, Pinecone, I want you to review all of these files. I want you to make connections if they can, link them together so that it can start looking more like a brain, and then you have easier access to all of this information. So let me go to the mail because that's when it starts. So in this case, we've already added a few nodes on the left side of it. If you pay attention to this area right here, oh, there you go. So there you. So what you just saw is a new memory, and I'm adding memory as a quotation marks because it's just a file. File was added, but now Pinecone and the whole brain knows about this new file that's in there, which can be considered a memory. So if you look at it right after, there's another one. So another one just popped up. So this is really cool. I just realized that. So it connects based off how relevant it is to another file. And if you take a notice, is it finds a file called right there, Building with Manny. Building with Manny is this YouTube channel, which we are. I'm using it to get the scripts. I'm using it to get the descriptions. I'm using it to get all of the SEO that YouTube needs to make the process a little bit better. But it's all living inside of Claude. And look what happens here in a second. It moved location
Yeah. And
and
it
it
can make
connected
connection.
and it made multiple connections because we've talked about it. So Building Manny, and this one was Napkin Note, which we talked about it in the second episode.
Right.
It connected it. I don't know what these are. I wonder if I click on them. But now it's connected to multiple files, multiple nodes of it. So it's just getting smarter.
So, yeah, it's wild. This was 2 days ago. Has it changed again since then?
Yeah. So the way that I designed it. Let me stop sharing this. The way
Show the
that I
final
designed
screen. You take it to the end just because it looks so cool.
yes.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I'll bring that up. So there's another one.
I mean, yeah. And all of that took 7.5 minutes.
Yes,
For once you had Pinecone doing the work.
correct.
Took you probably plenty of minutes leading up to that.
Just thinking about how it's gonna work. This is current brain
Yeah.
right now. So there's a lot more connections. There's a lot of more files in here.
Yep.
Oh, I know you could do that.
That's cool.
That's cool.
And what you're looking at is this view from Obsidian, right?
Yeah, Obsidian.
Obsidian's the note taking and organization file structure, and you're looking at it in a graphic representation.
That is correct. And every day it's learning and it's growing. It's connecting more stuff together to make sure that it just keeps growing and it knows more. Pinecone knows more. But so going back to your question, one of the things that I wish I would have done when I got this computer is get this file structure up and running, set up. So the more that it learns, the more I do, the more it learns.
Yeah.
But
Very cool.
that's the brain. That's Pinecone's brain right there. You're looking at Pinecone's brain.
Yeah. And ultimately, as all the things that we build and continue working on, we have a team of people to help us expedite that and move it faster. And by
Yes.
people, I mean files in a computer who have instructions and know what to do.
Yes. But it's exciting. It's just exciting.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like this, we've talked about so many different ideas. We have tons of ideas all the time. Things that could be products, things that could be software products, things that silly things, big things. But in addition to that, what you've started building is like building the thing that builds things.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that is just, there's so many different things about it that are just mind bending. Like when we watched that video together yesterday and just seeing Pinecone creating agents and bringing them together and further apart because it has to make a decision was just, I mean, it's just wild and exciting. Kind of gave me chills in a good way.
Yes, I see it every time. And like I mentioned, the last 2 weeks, every day I've been like, oh my God, like this is crazy. This is insane. And one thing, and I don't know if this is the proper segue for this. One thing that keeps coming up is like, is this real? Like,
I know.
am I really doing something here? Or is it's just fun? Like, it's just, I don't know. I think the second, and this is part of building with many and why I want to make sure that we share it with everybody, is that the goal at the end of the day is to bring these systems and make $1. The second that $1 hits our bank account, not for the need to be greedy with money, but the need to see that the things that we're doing actually amount to something, because that's probably one of the hardest things for somebody to validate your ideas and products, is that they're willing to part away from their hard-earned money for something. So the second that they give you that dollar, it validates everything that we've been working for. And I don't know if that's why I'm like stuck in this, like, is it actually doing so? Because right now all I'm doing is spending my money.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, here's the thing. And again, I think I talked about this with you yesterday's. The last episode of My First Million, the guy that was the guest on it, like one of the things that he said that was like really true is that every business that has two things to do has to get customers and fulfill customers, right? The fulfillment is so much easier now. I mean, I think it's always been easier to do the thing than get customers to buy the thing. But with the system and the tools and the ecosystem that we're building here, the fulfillment becomes so much easier, and then it's a matter of how do you get them,
Mm.
right? Uh, we'll make it. We can make $1 next week if we wanted to make $1. Maybe not next week because I'm going on vacation next week, but the week after that.
No. That being said, building with Manny will continue. Episodes will continue going. So while Darren's on vacation enjoying a cruise, right? You're going on a cruise. Enjoying the sun. Is it a Caribbean cruise? Okay. Enjoying the sun. I will be here in the dark room office recording another video for everybody so that you have another video. I might change the platform because it's going so fast that I'm like, I need to make another video because there's so much information in my head. So I
Yeah.
think what I might do is I might call these the weekend calls with you and me, and then the build on Wednesdays because I have all the Wednesdays afternoons to myself. So I might just try and get 2 more videos out for everybody to watch, and then hopefully that helps grow our audience. Then
Yeah.
helps grow so it's just pushing forward. It's just fun.
Yeah. Hopefully, some people find it interesting because we find it fascinating.
Yes. Yeah. So what's next? I think that's everything that I had to talk about.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Uh, so we'll leave it there. Next week, you'll still get a video from me. And see how further I push Pinecone. I already have some few ideas on things that I want to do and try. And then at the same time, I need to dedicate time to assistant coach, actually getting that product up and running and testing, um, so that we can then start marketing and validating it with real users.
It's exciting stuff.
It is. Okay. Well, thank you, Darren. Have
All right,
a
my friend.
great weekend.
Right back at you.
I'll see you on Monday.
Sounds good.
All right.